Hello. A viewer was watching some of my other videos that are just showing the proper threading of various tape machines I was selling. Asked if I could say what I was doing and explain and go a little bit slower. So that's what I'm going to do today. Um, I'm using this tape machine here, which is an Atari MTR-10. It's a quarter-inch two-track, half-track machine. Half-track means that the two channels take up the entire width of the tape itself, which is different than quarter track, which sometimes is known as a four-track machine or as a consumer two-track machine because there's two channels that go in one direction and two channels that go in the other direction. And that would be four track, but it's quarter track as well because each track takes up a quarter of the width of the tape. This machine is a half track machine, two channels, one direction, stereo machine that runs at 7.5 inches per second, 15 inches per second, and 30 inches per second. The faster the tape speed is, the quieter, as far as the noise is concerned, the quieter the tape, the sound of the tape. 30 inches per second is the premium speed. The tape is going so fast that the tape hiss itself, which is created because tape is magnetic particles that are put onto a mylar base, and then you're pulling the magnetized rust, so to speak, across the head, and somehow that sounds really good to us. But let's see how this thing works. I'm turning it on first, and some lights go on and that sort of thing. I'm putting up a two-channel, a stereo master reel from a band I did a long time ago. And this is the hub. So I put the reel on the hub. It lines up with these slots. And this particular hub is held down to the machine by turning this. So I could take this hub off like this and use a smaller reel, which has a smaller inside. But I need this adapter to do this 10-inch reel. So I crank it down here so that doesn't move. And then I put the tape on there, and pull up and twist. And this holds the tape in place. Now, threading for different machines will be different depending on the mechanism that the machine uses. But essentially what you're trying to do in a high level is to take the tape from the take-up reel, which is always on the right, and bring it to the supply reel, which is on the left. You'll want to, if a tape is properly stored, it will be stored what's called tails out, meaning that the end of the tape is at the front of the reel. And that means that we have to rewind the tape all the way to the beginning before playing it back. And the path from here to here goes through several channels, tape path channels. But the main thing is the tape goes from the take-up reel through an idler of some sort. And in this case, this is the idler. There's a little bar underneath of there that goes back and turns the tape machine on. You can see that this is spinning. And when I let go of it, this then comes to a halt. But this is taking up tension when the tape is played. And then we want to go in between the capstan, which is this spinning rod here, and the pinch roller. When the tape machine is engaged, the pinch roller goes onto the capstan, and the capstan spins at the speed at which the tape is supposed to be played at. It'll spin faster for 30 inches per second and slower at 7.5 inches per second. But you have to go in between it so that you're pinching the tape, hence the name pinch roller, and it applies pressure on it and will pull the tape through. Then you're going across the head stack here, which has some guides on it as well, but usually the tape just lays across that. And then there's some sort of stabilizer on the other side, and again, another idler here. This idler is what more typical of what you'll see than what you see on this side. But there's going to be an idler on both sides, and that's to create some tension on the tape so that it doesn't bounce on the head and either record improperly or play back improperly. So the threading for this machine is just across this guide. This guide doesn't move. This is the tape idler. I'm going in between the pinch roller and the capstan, across the heads, up over this wheel, which turns as well, which is part of the tape idling mechanism, goes around this, which also spins, and this tape idler, which goes back and forth there. And then I come up onto the tape reel, the supply reel. And what I did was I pulled the tape back to where it's like barely showing. That's the end of it right there. And I hold my finger in there and turn this so that it will hold on to that. And then I give it a couple more turns until it, when I turn this with my hand, the tape moves as well. And then I'm ready to rewind. So I'm going to rewind back to the beginning of the tape, or close to the beginning. Actually, I'll rewind all the way, and then I'll rethread it in the reverse direction. When you get close to the end of the tape in the rewinding, I usually like sort of rock this back and forth so it doesn't just go flying off the reel. It'll usually detect that and will slow down pretty fast after the tension is lost. But I don't really want to abuse the machine, so I sort of manually roll it down to something more reasonable so that it will stop without too much fuss. There we go. I love that sound of the tape stopping. So anyways, before I thread this tape up again, this is the time where I would clean the heads and actually clean the entire mechanism, and that would be a separate video. But essentially I'll take 99.9% isopropyl alcohol and a Q-tip and clean any tape particles off of the tape idler, this guide. This is rubber, so I don't want to use alcohol on that. There's a special rubber cleaner for that. And then there's some tape guides here and here and here and here. And then there's the three heads. It's always in erase, record, and play order. I will then also clean the capstan. I'll use the rubber cleaner on the pinch roller, clean this tape idler and this guide, and then we'll do the load up the tape. So once I've done that, I'm going in reverse order. I'm going around the tape idler, through this guide, over this wheel, across the head stack, in between the capstan and the pinch roller, across the idler and this guide, and then get that to catch right there. And then if I have it in the correct speed, I can hit play and the tape will start to play correctly. There's a little bit of tape at the beginning just so that it doesn't get, so the beginning of a song doesn't get mangled, so it'll go in a little bit before it starts to play. If I'm impatient, I can fast forward into this. There we go. Fast forward. Oh, that's slipping a little bit. That's why it's squealing. Take that down like that. Great. Just slipping a little bit. Go forward. I'll show you some of the other features of this tape machine. If I stop here and say this is where I want to start, I can set a 0 point. So then if I've played a little bit, I'll just show you this for fun. This is at 30 inches per second. This is the correct speed. Which is 15 inches per second, and here's 7.5. That turns it into the ultimate doom band. But what I did want to show you is that if I was done playing the song and I wanted to go back to the place where I had done 0 on this machine, this is a return to 0 button. If I push that, it will go back to 0. And watch over here as it does the rocking bit that I was doing manually. And it stops at the right place. When I'm done with the tape and I'm ready to go, I should play it out from the beginning so that we have a nice even pack on the tape here, because it's a little bit raised right now. But if I'm going to pull it out again really quick, or I just need to like wrap it up and get another reel on there, and I'll come back and do what's called a library run to run out the tape at a slower speed to get a really nice pack for storage, I would just fast forward like this. But this isn't really, I mean, it's not bad for the tape, because I'll show you here that if I did this from the top of the reel, this particular machine does a really good job of packing it and fast forward, but some machines don't, and that's why you want to do like a slow play out of it. But usually, if you're just doing a tape transfer, you'll start at the beginning and transfer the tape, and when it's done, you've already played it in real time. It's my favorite part. There we go, nice. But what I was going to say, in doing tape transfers, you usually start at the beginning and transfer the whole tape in one pass. And so then it does have this library pack to it because it's been played in real time. And so there's no reason to go back to the beginning and play it again. The only reason to do that is if you're just trying to find one particular song in there and you're fast forwarding, rewinding back and forth. It might pack really funny, and then if it's going to go back into storage, then I would rewind all the way to the beginning and play it once again. So there you go. Just basically how to use any tape machine, just using the MTR10 as an example.